Salam viewers, this is your host Muhammad Ali Haider and you're watching your very own career quest where dreams meet direction. Well, they say that influence is not about lifting yourself, but it's more about elevating others. This perfectly encapsulates the idea what does it take to become an influencer. Today, we'll talk about what is an influencer, what defines an influencer, and how can one achieve this level of being an influencer. For that, we have with us today, first of all, Miss Aqdus Aslam, who happens to be an educationist as well as a trainer. Assalamu alaikum, ma'am. Thank you so much for being with us today. Our second guest today happens to be a golf influencer as well as an educationist, Mr. Shan Tahir. Thank you so much, Mr. Shan, for being with us today. Before we formally begin with our discussion, let's give a look to this report.
In today's digital world, the power of influence has never been greater. Social media platforms have transformed how we connect, communicate, and create impact. Influencers are shaping opinions, promoting positive change, and building powerful communities across the globe. In Pakistan, young digital creators are making their mark by promoting education, entrepreneurship, and social awareness. With just a smartphone and creativity, individuals are turning their passion into professions. From fashion and fitness to tech and travel, influencers are inspiring millions and opening new career paths. The digital age offers endless opportunities for those ready to embrace innovation and authenticity. It's time where your voice matters, whether you are educating, entertaining, or empowering. Together, we are shaping a smarter, more connected world.
Welcome back from the report. To begin with our discussion, Madam Aqdus, I'd like to know that how do you see influencer culture in Pakistan, and most importantly, how do you see it globally impacting the cultures and traditions?
Okay, I feel in Pakistan we don't associate a lot of very positive connotations with influencers,
Very
and I
true.
think that needs to be said out aloud. That does not mean that influencing is a bad industry or that it is by default something that we should be concerned about. We have had influencing in many different forms. It's just that social media and the various digital forms of information and the different media that are now available to us, they have changed how we consider the power of people communicating to an audience.
Very true.
So I think first, and now that we have clarified that, we know that influencing is essentially just a medium of communication. We need to recognize that yes, our current generations, which are Gen Z and Gen Alpha, most likely to be involved in social media or more digital technologies, more so triggered by the pandemic or expedited by the pandemic.
True.
That has really changed how our audiences or how our youngsters work with and involve themselves with technology. So industry, the industry of influencing is very diverse.
All right.
There are lots of different forms of influences. Some of them are, yes, making infotainment content. Others are just entertaining.
Yes.
There are a lot of lifestyle influencers, but there are also a lot of influencers who talk about social causes, who talk about issues like economics and politics, sports, poverty, human rights. So a lot of our perceptions about influencing are colored by a few influencers who represent the type of they represent a particular type of media which we had always frowned upon. And for us to recognize the power of influence, which was already there, sometimes in advertising, sometimes in talk shows, sometimes in political campaigns, it was already there. So it is just a newer form of influencing, and storytelling or sharing ideas and narratives has always been really, really important.
Your point is noted, ma'am. Mr. Shan, being an influencer yourself, how do you see the influencers industry in this particular age?
Oh, it's a fast growing industry, especially in a country like Pakistan, where I feel that there's so much to do. People abroad have been doing this for a very long time, and we're a little late in coming onto the scene. But I think we're very rapidly getting onto the scene, and I feel that it's a very promising industry for anyone getting into. And I really do feel that there is a lot of potential and a lot of growth. And as Pakistani citizens, I feel like we've got a lot to contribute as well. And I do feel in the next 10 years, you'll see Pakistani influencers really making a name for themselves on the global stage.
Inshallah. Your point is noted, Mr. Shah. Madam, I'd like to know, what are those essential skills required to become an influencer? We all know that it is a very diverse field, but is there anything specific required to become an influencer?
I think the first thing anybody who is considering influencing needs to know is how to communicate. Communication is the most powerful the skill to have in this world.
All right.
And influencing relies solely on communication. Perhaps not solely, but definitely most importantly on communication.
All right.
That said, that is not all it is. It is not all just talking and showing things. It is also a lot of the back end work. There's a lot of research involved. There's a lot of identifying what your niche audience is. There's a lot of trend analysis, market analysis. There's a lot of collaboration, lot of talking to the right people at the right time, networking, finding and building contacts. Again, all very essential skills in other professions also, but definitely very important for an influencing. And I think it's also very important to recognize that not everybody can, just pick up a phone and a camera
And become
then become an influencer.
All right.
It is always good to, understand the various different social media or the different platforms that you're going to use. Understand how they work, how recording works, how studios work, how lighting, sound, all of these things work. And then, also understand how storytelling happens
Very important.
in very small chunks of time. So a longer narrative may be easier to build, but capturing the audience's attention for a very small time and in a very influential, effective way, which has lasting outcomes and impact, that is very hard to do.
Very true.
So becoming viral is not easy anymore. Perhaps maybe a little earlier, but not anymore. And it is important to understand that influencing is not just talking and sharing something that happened today.
Your point is noted, ma'am. Mr. Shan, what is your story as an influencer? How did you get into this golf social media influencer industry? Because this is something which is very new to me as well. So I'd like our viewers to know more about it as well.
I'd love to tell you guys. So I'm an educationist by profession as well, and I feel like that really helped. As ma'am was saying, communication becomes very important. And I started playing golf a few years ago. And golf influencing in the world, in the West especially, has been growing very rapidly.
Okay.
So I looked around on social media, I was doing a little research, and I realized that there's no one in the subcontinent who's doing it, to my surprise. And that kind of just carved my way into it. I started doing it with very minimal technology. I had no idea about anything. Editing, storytelling, how to communicate on camera, never been on camera. It was all pretty new. I just started it one day, and I'm sitting here now with you. Right? There's a lot that happened in the middle, but I just got into it basically to honestly create a better, softer image of our country.
Very important.
To show the world that we're a sport-loving nation outside of just cricket as well. There's a lot more to us. We've got beautiful golf courses in Pakistan, which people don't know about. The golfers and the myths around golf that people have of it being a rich person's sport and it's inaccessible for people. I've had people contact me, and my favorite journey so far has been expats who have been contacting me. A few of them are coming in this month, and we're going to play together as well. So just bringing that community together and people realizing, so many of these expats who left Pakistan 50 years ago. So even if I could touch and change the perspective of one person, that was the goal. But the response I've gotten has been very heartwarming, very overwhelming sometimes as well. And that's my little journey to where I am now.
It's very interesting, and there is a lot to learn from it as well.
Thank you so much.
Miss Aqdus, I'd like to know that how is influencer industry is impacting business globally in general and particularly in Pakistan?
I think we need to recognize the value of influencing as, a marketing campaign.
All right.
businesses hold hands with influencers and expect some form of, collaboration, some form of product placement for their products, or, even their services. And it has become a newer version of advertising. But it is not just advertising. So it's not just, when a business chooses to, collaborate with an influencer. It's also that influencers have credibility established with their audiences.
Very important.
And when they recommend something, when they recommend a product, a particular service, a particular industry, their followers are likely to think about it. And then the third aspect of it is also that when influencers are talking about something, it is also influencing not just the people themselves, but also the algorithms. At the back end of all of these social media and all of these digital platforms are algorithms that help bring up content which is more suitable or, more likely to be enjoyed by a particular audience. So it is a very powerful industry that way. But I don't think it is more powerful than advertising campaigns. It is just a different nature of the industry that we have.
Your point is noted, ma'am. Mr. Shan, I'd like to know, being an influencer yourself, and as you transformed your journey from an educationist to becoming an influencer, do you think becoming an influencer could be considered as a sustainable career option?
To begin with, to be honest, no.
Okay.
It started off as a passion project. It started off as I'd like to do this, maybe try it out. And only getting into it, I realized that it really could be. I did not know much about it, like I said earlier. So now, yes, I do feel that it's definitely something that can be considered as a career option, as a future plan. There is enough out there for you to be able to sustain with. And there are countless opportunities. Once you get into it, for anything in life, once you get into it, you really understand how many doors there are that you can approach and open. And every door you open, there are 10,000 more doors you can get to. And you have to get into it to really understand it. So yes, if you asked me this when I started it, I would have said no. But now, absolutely yes. There's a vibrant culture and a great career out there.
Because with there is a lot of viewership which believes that just because of that charm associated with becoming an influencer, they believe that this would be enough for them. I want you to give the viewers a message as well, that how important it is to establish a career with becoming an influencer, and apart from that, having a specific career like you have in the field of education.
So if I didn't have that career to begin with, the foundation, I don't think I would have come into this even.
All right.
Because you need a stable income coming in be able to do this. I don't think I would have ever left everything behind and just gotten into this, because it is a very unpredictable career to get into.
Yes.
Unless and until you have contracts signed, brand partnerships with you, some income flowing in, then you can choose to go into it, which does happen. It takes some time, like anything else. But yes, absolutely, you need to have a stable ground to be able to do this.
All right, Mr. Shan, your point is noted. Madam Aqdus, what are those untapped opportunities that you think still exist in Pakistan with respect to the industry of influencers?
There are many, many opportunities, always. Half of the job is, finding out where your heart is, where your passion is. And as a career advisor for many years, I've also always told my students, you have to really think about what it is that's going to make you happy. Because when you're doing it 8 to 12 hours a day, then you really need to be passionate about it.
True.
You really need to understand why you are in it every day, day in and day out. With regards to influencing, I feel that there are a lot of social areas. There are a lot of human issues, cultural issues that can be talked about. There are a lot of niche concerns that women, minorities, particular populations have in Pakistan. And that's a very beautiful place to start off influencing, because everybody needs a voice. And when everybody has a voice and that voice goes to a larger audience, it becomes really, really powerful. Another thing that I do feel is that education as an industry doesn't have a lot of, influencer support.
True.
We have a lot of, brand endorsements. We have lots of people talking about, beauty, makeup, technology. But education is a very, very big industry. And I think Shan can also relate to this as an educationist, as a teacher, as somebody who has worked with students. I would like to think of influencing also in terms of, educating and teaching students different skills, or teaching learners different areas that they can find out more about, guiding them towards, careers. That's a whole big area of research. And then there is also, areas that are associated with our mental and physical health. So I think that is also an area that is being explored, but still has a lot of opportunities.
Your point is noted, ma'am. Mr. Shan, being an influencer yourself, what are those specific challenges that influencers face, particularly in Pakistan, and how can they overcome those challenges?
So I'll answer that question twofold. I'll answer that conceptually, and I'll answer that practically and factually. So conceptually speaking, I feel the problem comes in the general acceptability of the profession itself, as was spoken about before too. That, for example, if a woman or a girl wants to start a media channel, a social media channel, it's still a little frowned upon, it's a little resisted, and hesitation is involved with family members. And like I said earlier, that if I wanted to start early on without having a stable income, generally speaking, conceptually, it's still we're a little far behind in understanding the exact narrative around it. Practically and technically, stuff that I've faced as well, problems, is we don't have access to the technology as easily over here required to create content. And honestly, how to overcome it is also interesting, I feel, because you need to start from somewhere. You need to get into it. I didn't have answers to these questions, and now I do. And these things are still a problem in the market over here in Pakistan, but I got through it. I got across it, and someone else will also get across it. So I don't have any, like in any other way, more maybe...
There is no specific technique. You just have to blend your passion and profession, and it will make easier.
Absolutely. You just need to get into it, I feel. And you'll find a way around it. There is stuff here. You just don't know where it is right now, and you will get to it. But just get into it.
Mr. Shan, your point is noted. Madam Aqdus, I'd like to know that, there is a specific trend that our content creators follow. And with that, we have a certain trend in our viewers as well, because there is just certain class of content that they want to watch and view. So do you think, is it just about the content creators, or is it also about the kind of viewership that exists in the society?
Of course, it is about the viewership also. Content creators or influencers are important. Yes, they do drive the content. But at the end of the day, as Shan said, everybody wants to take, some money home. And if the monetizing is happening because the audience wants to see a particular type of content, then yes, there would be more content like that. We do know the demand-supply relationship in economics.
All right. Mr. Shan, there are certain trends that are followed globally, and then there are specific trends followed in Pakistan. How do you compare those trends? And how do you think Pakistani influencers can actually, compete on the global scale?
So I feel like the global trends are very general in nature. Right? There are dance moves that someone will do, or the way you say something, and that has nothing to do with your culture, where you're from, where you belong from, how you speak, or whatsoever. I feel like as far as those viral global trends are concerned, I think wherever you are in the world, whether it's Pakistan or wherever, you do fine, right? I think that's perfectly fine. But as far as Pakistani influencing going on a global scale is concerned, I really do feel we've already had the discussion in terms of untapped markets and what we can offer to the world. I feel there's so much to us as our culture, as people.
Very true.
We're very hospitable. And I feel a sadness that in the past 2 years, there's been such a big rise of Westerners coming into Pakistan for travel influencing. So I feel like anyone around the world, when they start portraying in the best possible way what they can offer, they'll be accessible on the global scale. Regardless, it's not about Pakistan or any other country. I feel you need to be true. You need to showcase to the best of your abilities, and there are people out there to watch.
Very, very well said, Mr. Shan. Madam Aqdus, I'd like to take your closing thoughts because as we are concluding, I want you to tell our viewers how important it is to become an influencer, but with that, how important it is to take care of those ethics as well as those trends that could, make a positive change in the society.
I think this is a very difficult question to answer. As a parent, as a teacher, as somebody who has been in the education sector for a very long while, I feel that there are pros and cons of influencing, and we need to be very clear about them. We need to understand that, like with other professions, sometimes things can get to your head. So with influencing, this is very likely to happen. And how are you going to take care of yourself when you're struggling or when you're doing really well? Both of the times, because they both come with their unique challenges. So anybody who is thinking about influencing, do think about the people you're going to impact and not just the money that you're going to make, because eventually at the end of the day, it is people's lives that you are affecting.
True.
It is also very important to understand that the job doesn't end with just, one video. There's a lot of comments and engagement that happens much after that. And when you step into this career, not all of it is going to be very pleasant. People are all types. Some of them are going to be very kind to you, and the others are also going to be very disrespectful to you. So you do have to, grow a hard skin, a thick skin, and, take it from there. And just remember, at the end of the day, your audience are people with real lives, real families.
To learn, educate, and evolve.
Yes.
All right. Mr. Shan, I'd like to take your closing thoughts as well.
For all the influencers, particularly out there, or aspiring influencers, everything that ma'am already said, I completely 100% agree with that. And keeping all of that in mind, I feel like it's a general call to the aspiring influencers that start doing it.
All right.
Right? Start doing it. Don't think about what it looks like for the time being. Don't think about how people will see it, right? You don't know editing. You don't know storyboard. You don't know how to storytell. You're not confident on the camera. It needs to start from somewhere. Start doing it, keeping all the ethics in mind. Start doing it. And you'll be surprised by how quickly you learn, because this is one profession particularly where a particular specialization doesn't exist. Because you are the one who's the host, you're the one who's recording, you are the one who's editing.
Basically, you're everything.
You're doing everything. You're like an octopus with as many limbs as possible, and you're doing all things yourselves. So I feel like you grow very, very quickly into it. And because it's a very fast-paced industry, you learn how to keep up with it as well. If you're doing it this seriously, as an everyday profession, then you start learning it. But don't get intimidated by what others are doing, because they've been doing it. So I tell everyone, whoever wants to become an influencer, whoever you follow right now, who you aspire to be one day, watch their first video.
All right. Very well said, Mr. Shan. Thank you so much, Madam Aqdus, for being with us today. Thank you so much, Mr. Shan, for being with us today in this show. With that, we conclude our today's program. There was a lot to learn about the industry of influencers. There was a lot to convey to our viewers as well. And I hope you people found this program equally informative as much as I did, because this is an untapped industry for Pakistan, and there can be a lot done by us, by every individual that is watching this show, that is not maybe watching this show, but you can obviously communicate this idea, this thought to them. Till next time, your host Muhammad Ali Haider is signing off. Allah Hafiz.